welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. So you might be thinking to yourself, what a beautiful attic stairs. There's just, I feel like, you ever feel like, is there something missing in my life? Like, is it in this part of the stairs? No. This part of the stairs? Oh, it's right here. It's because when you take the first and second step, it's just not gonna work. So you're probably thinking, how do I fix this? Like maybe a person that's bigger or whatever stepped on it and it just collapsed. So how do I fix this? Well, that's easy. So this one, if you look close, you can see there's screws up in here. See all those? And we're gonna unscrew those. Anyway, we're gonna unscrew this and then we're gonna take it out and then look over there. We got an aluminum one and we're gonna put that one in or screw that in place. And then that's it. By the way, did you know, hot chicks really dig me. What do you guys think, eh? See, they got this heat lamp right here because later on in life, they'll be underneath the KFC heat lamp. All right, we're gonna get started. We took out the old attic stairs, they're over there. And then I put these things up temporarily, right? And this is so that we can take this attic stairs, it's already pre-done, and put it up in there and then lay it on there. And then I'll be up on top and I'll put screws in it. And then that will hold it in place. So that's how that works. Step one was get it out of there. We did that. Whew, that was exhausting. Then we got these things up there temporarily, got the hole cleaned out, and then we're gonna lay this up in place and put some screws in it. So I'll show you how to do that, and then I'll show you how to cut the ladder. I wanna tell you guys a quick story. So this guy got stranded on an island, and when he did, they were like, this is our new king. And they worshiped him like he was a god, okay? And he was there and they were like, crown him king. They were like, we will do literally anything that you want. You're the king of this whole island. And he's like, this is so cool. So he's doing basically everything in the world that he wants to do. And after a while, somebody came and said, hey, you might want to know this. After a year of you being king, they are going to exile you to another island and nobody is over there. You'll be 100% alone for the rest of your life. Nobody's going to help you and they're going to completely abandon you. And he's like, this is horrible. I mean, yeah, I've got this 1 year of being king, but yikes, that is just depressing. And he got pretty sad and he got kind of depressed. And then he started thinking about it. He's like, wait a minute, I'm still king right now. I can do something about my future life, my life after I'm king. And so he took all the people that were his servants, if you will, his subjects, and he told them to go to the other island where he was going to get exiled to, and they built all kinds of stuff. They built a great house for him, they dug a well for him, they made everything as nice and accommodating as possible. He moved all of his friends over there, he moved all the people that he liked over there, and basically made it into another paradise. And so when his time came and his year was up, then they were like, and now you're gonna be exiled to this island. He's like, joke's on you, buddy. You exiled me to a better place. So a lot of times people are like, I'm not gonna prepare for tomorrow. I'm not gonna prepare for my next life. I'm like, that's a dumb move. Or you can be like, you know what? I'm gonna take the time now to prepare for my future so that when my future comes, and it could be bleak, and it could be depressing, I will be prepared and thrive, not just survive, but thrive in that. So we're gonna put this up. I hope that story helps you guys out. Don't be depressed. Love you. So as you can clearly tell from my slide, we put this up in there, put in our bolts and everything. I'll show you how that works, and then we turn it back out. So, oh, look at that, it works. How weird. Now, you might be like, hey, is there a problem with this? Yeah, there is. And the problem is, this ladder is too long. Huh, how are we gonna deal with that? Oh, I know. We'll measure it. Here, check it. We just do this, and then get that sucker straightened out. Then I can just measure this and go, that is gonna be 17.5 inches, okay? And then we'll measure 17.5 inches here, and I'll dig in my butt here. Oh, there it is. And we'll make a mark, and then we'll put an angle on there, and we will cut it with a Sawzall, and then that'll work like magic. Okay, but in the meantime, what we did is we had those temporary supports. We laid this in there, so it just laid on the temporary supports. We put in screws all the way around, and then we put long bolts in here, right into the metal, and 2 in the metal there, 2 in the metal there, and 1 here. So all the weight is really in this area, and that's where it's taking all this weight. And I jumped up and down, and I had Kenny come over here, and he jumped up and down, and that's not easy. And it was like, I got this, so it was no big deal. So I also made a list. It's I don't have it with me, but it was a list. I was like, this is how I want other people to treat me, right? And I was like, I want them to be nice to me. I would like for them to smile when I'm around. I'd like for them to hug me and tell me that they love me. I was like, whenever I need something, I want them to be helpful. What are some of the good things on your list, James? The way that you want people to treat you?
With respect.
With respect.
Courtesy.
Courtesy, right? Maybe like if you were hurting, they'd be like, hey man, can I help in some way? Can I pray for you? Things like that, right? So I made this list and I was like, man, this is how I want other people to treat me. And I thought about it, I was like, oh, this is how I should treat other people. Because you should treat other people the way that you want to be treated. So I encourage you, make a list of how you want people to treat you, and then you treat other people that way. That's amazing. All right, I'm gonna get this. All right, so I'm gonna treat. Let's see if we knew what we were doing. I really guessed, and we probably took about 12 minutes to do this whole thing, but okay, that part works. And then, yikes, and then, but let's see if it'll hold weight. It holds weight. So, the other day I was in a place, I won't say where, and I was talking to somebody, and they were like, yeah, I don't care about masks either. And I'm like, oh yeah, definitely not. And I said, but I'm in leadership, so I wear a mask so I can set a good example. And I said, I'm also in leadership, and so I don't wear a mask so I can set a good example. Because I'm not a sheep, and I don't want a bunch of sheep following me. And then he's like, yeah, blah, blah. So somebody the other day said, I have a neck gaiter thing, and if I see that people want me to have a mask, and I just pull it up out of respect for them. And I'm like, yeah, I do the same thing only with handcuffs. I have like a set of handcuffs with just one hand done all the time. And then if I see somebody like, oh, you want me to be a slave? Oh, just so I don't offend you. And I buckle myself up and I walk by. Welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. So today we got started before we filmed because it was raining pretty hard and we got pretty wet, but we survived. So what we got is, there was these two rooms, this add-on sunroom kind of whatever in the world it is, and it had a drainage issue that kept leaking water into the house, and then it was moldy, and they don't want that. So they want us to take all this down, but keep the roof, and then put a beam up here, and then support that, and then we're gonna put in a new sliding glass door and a window, and then we're gonna fix the siding and the soffit. So that's what we're gonna do. You probably noticed I didn't upload any videos yesterday. You know why? It's because it's Sunday. You gotta take Sundays off. Everybody knows that. And I know what you're thinking. John, you work too much. How could you take days off? Allow me to elaborate. So, you might think to yourself, couldn't you get more done in 7 days than you could in 6? No, that's dumb, because then you're gonna wear yourself out. And that's one thing I'm not about. So, this guy was walking through the woods. This bow hunter was walking through the woods, and he sees this priest, okay? And the priest is just sitting there, just enjoying nature, and he's just like looking at the birds, and he's kind of eating a sandwich. And the hunter's like, you're a priest. Shouldn't you be doing like God's work? Shouldn't you be out there like saving people's lives and saving their souls and stuff like that? And the priest doesn't even like stop eating his sandwich. He just kind of looks up at him and he goes, I notice you unstring your bow. Why is that? And he goes, because if I don't unstring my bow, if it's always under tension, then whenever I need it, it won't have the strength that I need. And he's like, how can you understand something so simple in the real world about unstringing your bow, but you can't understand that we need a break too? So take a break, right? And also look, don't blame lazy people. They didn't do anything. So a lot of you ask me constantly, probably 17 times a day, John, how does a beam work? And how do you make this work? So what we're gonna do is we're taking this wall out, but if we take this wall out, then what's gonna happen? This whole ceiling is just gonna fall down. We don't want that. We want to keep this, okay? So how does a beam work? Well, allow me to elaborate. So you see how this is a header right here. So this right here is called a king stud because it goes all the way up to the top, and then there's a double header up here. And this one is called a jack stud because it takes the weight of this beam. Okay, it's a small. It's a header, and then this jack stud takes the weight as well. So this sits on here, that then takes the weight all the way down to the concrete. Okay, so if we're taking more weight across a longer span, then we need a bigger beam. And so we've got like 2x12. And what we're gonna do on this particular thing is we're gonna temporarily support this, right? We're gonna put something up under here and then hold it up. And then we're gonna take this out, then we're gonna put the beam in, and then we're gonna put supports up underneath it, and then that will take the weight across here. So usually on a covered porch, hold on a second while I fly my airplane over myself. Well, that's just pleasant. Usually on a porch cover, you want to have a 4x4 about every 8 feet, and this is 21 feet, so we're going to do 4. We'll have 1 on each end and then 2 in the middle. We'll evenly space them out. So you'll have a 4x4 and a couple others, and then we'll rest that beam up on top of the 4x4 right up underneath here, and that'll hold all this weight. So we're going to temporarily hold it up, put the beam in, and then take this out, and it'll rest back on the beam, right? So really there should be it shouldn't settle at all, because it's gonna be the same height as what it is after the fact. So that is how that's gonna work. We're gonna have to do something similar, I think, across here, because this is a little bit different once we got into it than what we anticipated, but that's okay. We're also gonna take this sliding glass door out. It's a triple sliding glass door right now. And we're gonna take that out, but this is walled up because they added a fireplace. And so we're gonna wall this up around here and put in a sliding glass door, and we'll put a window in over there. And we'll show you guys how to do that too. So I just want to say that years ago, I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna offer criticism to people unless I have a solution and I'm willing to help. I think I've talked about this before, but I think it's important. And I really thought, man, I'm gonna be missing out. Like, I could tell people how dumb they are and what a bad job they're doing, and just like really insult them. And I thought, I'm really gonna be missing out if I don't continue to do this. And years have passed, and I gotta tell you, I don't feel like I'm missing out at all. I am so much happier, right? And I think the people around me are happier too, because they're like, you're not so mean anymore. You're kind of nice, and I don't mind it. So if there's something that I notice that people could use some improvement on, and I'm willing to help, then I will take that person aside, just me and them, and say, hey, in the nicest possible way, I've noticed this problem, and I think this might be a solution, and if you want some help, then I'm willing to help you. And if they say no, then I'm like, have a good day, and I'm done, right? I said my piece. If you don't want my help, if you don't want this done, then perfect. And I don't like go talk about them behind their back, and I don't tell them how stupid they are or anything like that. I'm just like, I just wanted to offer the help, and that's it. And I think that if more people criticize like that, we'd have a much happier world. So give it a shot. Just try it. Just one time. Just go, man, you know what? I feel like I need to criticize that person. And then stop yourself and be like, am I willing to help? And maybe you're not. And then just let it go and see what happens. My guess is you'll be happier. All right, we're gonna get back to it. So I wanted to demonstrate how this works. We temporarily brace this up, okay, all the way down, and then we temporarily brace it up over here and on the far end, and then we took out this wall and we cut off all the nails, and now we're putting on these 4x4s, and we're gonna put the beam in. So we have to have all hands on deck when we do this, so we can actually show you how to do it. But this is what you do. You hold it up, keep the weight, so like this thing would just collapse, but we've got it held up temporarily. Then we got our uprights, we're gonna do 2 more, and then we're gonna do a beam. And then once we do that, then we'll rest it back onto the weight of this, and that should take all the weight of this whole thing. And it's gonna be truly amazing. And then we're probably gonna do a beam over here and one over there. We'll show you how to do that. And that's that. Oh, and then we need to keep talking about some cool stuff. So what do you want to talk about, Helper with No Name? Nothing? She says nothing. So be nice to each other and don't vote for me. I'm running for Senate. Okay, so we put the beam in. We got the 4x4s in. So you can see all this is now taking the weight. And now we're gonna knock this stuff out. And let's see if it doesn't fall on us. It worked. So that's how a beam works. See, that beam takes the weight of this whole thing, and that's how it works. Don't take down your uprights like that. That's pretty dangerous. But I just want to say for the record that we don't see the world the way that the world is. We see the world the way that we are. Think about that. Get back with me. So, we got the beam up. We showed you that. We took all this stuff out. We got all cleaned out. We got the sliding glass door in, which is very nice. And then we framed all this up so that it fits right, because remember it was kind of a different mess. So we framed all this sticking out, and then we put this window in right here, which is also nice, and then framed all this stuff out. And tomorrow we're gonna put soffit up in, we're gonna wrap this beam, we're gonna put siding in here, and make it all look pretty, and then probably caulk and paint too. So I went to Home Depot and I was like, hey, I need some 2x4s. And the guy taking my order was like, well, how long do you need them? I was like, a really long time, like I'm building a house. And then he looked at me like, no, the length. I was like, oh, yeah, 8 feet. So we got all this siding up, we got these beams in, I think we talked about that. So we took all this nonsense out, right? And we got this beam up here, and it's resting on here, it's resting on there. Same thing on that side, so there's a beam all the way around. It's holding the weight. We got the soffit up, we got the siding up, sliding glass door, and the window in. And then we got all that trimmed out. Now, we've got 4x4s here, pressure treated 4x4s. But we were like, what can we do to make these look better? And last week we did some columns, the metal columns, and those were pretty cool, pretty expensive too. These for significantly less, I'm trying to think, probably, I don't know, 1/10 of the cost. We can just wrap this, we just rip it with a table saw, and then shoot it. And then that looks pretty nice. So then we'll caulk that and we'll paint that, and I think that'll be a better look than just that nasty looking 4x4. So I don't really talk about this type of thing a whole lot, but some of you guys know, a lot of you guys know, that I didn't meet my dad till I was 27. He was really good at playing hide and seek. So when I was 2, he's like, hey, hide your eyes, and I did, and then I didn't see him again till I was 27. I've seen him a handful of times since, and it's been impossible to get in touch with him because he's homeless, and so he hasn't had an address until about a month ago. For the first time for the first time since he was a teenager, and he's probably almost 70. He actually had an address that I could write back to him, and so I did, and I wrote him, and I told my brother, my sister, and my kids, you know, how to get in touch with him. And I just said, hey, these are the things that I'm doing, and here's a couple of pictures and stuff, and then, you know, love you. And he wrote back like a 3-page front and back, so, you know, like 6-page letter, handwritten, which was pretty nice. And in that letter, he said, I'm proud of you for all the things that you're doing. And he also said, I love you. And, you know, probably most people are like, that's cool. That's what a dad should say. And I'm not looking for sympathy here, but I realized, I was sitting there reading it, and I realized that is the first time in my life that I've heard my dad say, I'm proud of you. And it's the first time in my life that I've heard my dad say, I love you. So that was kind of special. But there are lots of people out there that maybe don't get the same kind of, I don't know, family that other people do. And it's probably helpful. And I am not looking for sympathy. I'm just saying, I think that I'm pretty well adjusted, I guess. But there are other people out there, you know, kids and stuff that really take this stuff seriously. And so sometimes they act out, and I know that I certainly did. And, you know, maybe if you have a little bit extra compassion for those people, I think it makes a big difference. So anyway, in the morning, we're gonna caulk this, then we're gonna paint it, and then we're gonna move on to another job. All right, love you guys. So this morning, we caulked everything, and it looks significantly better. You can tell that caulk does an amazing thing. Now we're gonna paint, which will take moments, and then we gotta wire in this switch, have my electrician wire in the switch, and this fan over here, and then I think clean up and go to the dump. So that'll be that. So I've got, and I realize that this sounds very hypocritical, but I've got a beauty tip for you. And I know what you're thinking, John, you're a boy and you're not pretty, so how can you give beauty tips? Let me tell you. And you're gonna want to hear this one, because this is important. This goes for everybody. I don't care how ugly you are. I don't care how bad looking you are. If you look like you got run over by a truck and then dropped down the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down, it does not matter, because this will help you. This beauty tip will help you. Are you ready? Put on a smile. No matter how ugly you are to everybody else, if you put on a smile, you will be beautiful. And no matter how pretty you are, if you go around looking like you sucked on a lemon and had somebody wipe poop on your upper lip like this all day long, less pretty. So wear a smile. It'll help you out. What else we got? I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, okay, cool. See you in a bit. All right, so we got everything done. As you can tell, it looks beautiful. The world is a better place. Evil has been defeated. Good has conquered, as it always does. Light has overcome darkness. So everything got painted. We got the gutter back up, the fans in, the lights in. Everything looks good. I don't know if you guys remember this, but 2 days ago when we started this thing, it was dark and rainy and cloudy and dingy and old. And now the sun's out and it's like 75 degrees. It's beautiful. Like there's not a cloud in the sky. I feel really good. It's like spring just all of a sudden came. So I don't take full credit, but I'm gonna take some credit for that. All right, so I want to talk to you guys about a pastor from Africa talked about this years ago, and I was like, ooh, that's a really good point he makes. So he said, motion does not constitute progress, right? And a lot of times we think, aha, I'm moving in a direction, therefore I'm making progress, right? Incorrect. So he said, what the devil will do is take you from step A and point you at step B, and you're like, see, I'm going in the right direction. And then you're going in that direction, you finally get to step B, you're like, progress, this is great. I'm a good person. You pat yourself on the back, you get everybody else to pat you on the back, and they're like, yeah, you're the best, and whatever. Anyway, then he gets you all confused and spins you around and points you right back at step A again. And you keep going back to step A. And you're like, yeah, look, I'm making progress. You're like, you're not, you're going backwards. And then you're like, oh, wait, I need to be over there. And then you spin around and you go, no, I was going in the wrong direction. Hold on, I'm gonna go to step B again. And then you go towards step B and you make some progress. You're like, look at me, I'm doing good. Everybody's like, yeah, you are. You pat yourself on the back, everybody else pats you on the back. You're at step B again. Once again, he spins you around a little bit, you get all confused, you go back to step A again. This cycle continues until you die, okay? This is a problem. I wonder what is at step C or step D or Z, or maybe it goes beyond that. I don't know, like, is there another end beyond where you've been stopping? I think that you're stopping short of your potential, and maybe you're thinking, look, I did it. And you're like, you did what? You made the first step? Oh, that's cute. Are you ever gonna go farther than that? Are you ever gonna be amazing? Because you can do anything you set your mind to. Maybe not anything, but definitely some stuff. You can do some of the things that you set your mind to. Like, I can't get pregnant because I'm a boy. There's some stuff you can't do. I can't fly unless I'm in an airplane. I can fly out of an airplane, but not for long, maybe like a minute. And then it's really not the falling that gets you, it's that sudden impact of the ground. That'll kill you. And look, if at first you don't succeed, maybe skydiving wasn't right for you. All right, I'll see you guys. Good morning, and welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. Today, we're gonna be laying laminate flooring. This one's not luxury bottom plank. This is Pergo, expensive plus whatever. So, as you can clearly tell, we are gonna lay the floor here, and over here, and over here, down this hallway. So you might think to yourself, how do I lay this thing out? Number 8, we got to cut the bottom of these door jambs off, right? So we got to get a multi-tool right here and cut the bottom of the door jambs off. We already took off the quarter round, so that's good. And then we're going to lay this stuff out, and we have to, how do you figure out how to lay this out? Well, I'll tell you. So right here we have this odd-shaped tile around the fireplace, okay? So that becomes problematic. Like if we start on one side and we start coming towards this, sometimes you get the angle wrong and you're like, man, it just doesn't fit right. But if we lay it going this direction, then we can come right up to it, and if we mess up, we just cut a little bit more off and come into that. So we're gonna lay this way, we're gonna start right here, we're gonna come this direction, and then once we get around the corner, then we'll go backwards with it over here. This room is super easy. I'll show you how to lay this out. So this is pretty square, so we're just gonna start right there and then work our way right over here and then stop. We'll be done with it. So when I was younger, my mom, who I love, was like, John, you'll never amount to anything because you procrastinate so much. I'm like, you just wait, Mom. I'm just kidding. I'm an anti-procrastinator. But she did say this. When I was younger, I had a potty mouth. And when I was very young, she was like, John, you talk about poop and pee all the time. All you talk about is potty mouth stuff. When you grow up, you're gonna have to fix toilets for a living. And I was like, you don't know nothing, Mom. But guess what? I have like literally installed tens of thousands of toilets and cleaned and put my hands in and whatever. That's why they're so dirty. That's why I think I'm immune to COVID. Anyway, we're gonna get to work. What is going on? I'll tell you. We'll do a slow motion one later, Kat. Okay, so look, we spent like 28 minutes and we laid this floor here. And then we made this into a cutting station, so that's amazing. And then don't fall over, no trip. And then we laid all this. And now we're gonna go to lunch. But we're gonna come back and we'll do all these cuts and then we'll come down the hallway. And there you go. It'll be amazing. So we're about to do our part to end world hunger. It's just our part.
True story.
We're gonna fill our own bellies, right? It's way easier than trying to fill 7 billion bellies. It's just like, I'm gonna fill my own and you're gonna fill your own.
Yeah. Saving the world one belly at a time.
One belly at a time. And then sadly, for some, but not for me, later on tonight, I will be put to sleep. And by that I mean, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'll probably get like, I don't know. People are like, hey, you work a lot, do you ever sleep? And I'm like, sometimes my eyes close whenever I sneeze. So, we'll see. You again? I'm so glad you're here, come on. So, as you can tell, it's been, 28 minutes twice. I can't even do math, I guess 56 or something. And we got all this floor done and all that floor done. We still got the decor around, but look at this beautiful hallway. Before it was like, oh, look at that hallway. And now it's like, oh, look at that hallway. So, that's pretty beautiful. And then I want to talk to you guys about safety. All right, so, but before we get to safety, I just want to say, I don't eat till I'm full, I eat till I'm miserable. And I think that's healthy. So safety. Many years ago, let me think, probably 92, it was 92, I did high-rise roofing. And then for a while after that, I did, at least 3-story roofing, metal roofing and stuff. And so we had to do a lot of stuff. It was very steep and very high, and we had to do a lot of stuff with toe boards and ropes. So with the toe board, you got a roof like this, and then you got a toe board that you stand on. And then when you stand on the toe board, then you're not gonna fall off, hopefully. But if it's too steep, then you have to have ropes that are anchored into the ridge, and then that you got like a center harness or whatever, and then you can climb up and you make sure that you're safe. But here's a mistake that a lot of people make. They rely all their weight on the safety all the time, and they just walk around like this, and they've got all their weight on the safety. And the problem with that is that if there's actually a problem, you're already in your safety, right? And so if then something fails, then you're gonna fall off. So what they told us, and I've lived by this for decades now, is you live like there is no safety. You live like, I had better be a freaking mountain goat on this roof, and I better be sure-footed, and I better not fall. If I do, I've got the rope. If I do, I've got the toe board, but I better rely on myself, and then I know as a backup, I've got this safety thing. So, I don't know, I just think that that's interesting because a lot of people are like, I've got this safety, and they rely heavily, they're like right up to the nub on the safety, and you're like, you don't want to do that. You want to back off and rely on yourself and then have the safety as a backup, because that's how backup work. All right, so we're done with this one. We're moving on to something else, and hopefully next week sometime we're going to be doing dirt work on my other job. All right, love you guys, bye.